The sound hit before anyone could process what happened. A sharp crack. Metal against metal. The kind of sound that makes your whole body go cold, even if you're not the one tied to the tracks. Outside a chapel in the mountains of Seoul, everything went dead silent. Hyun-Jun's wrists, covered in blood from ropes that bit deeper with every breath, were bound to rusted iron rails. 300 meters away, a freight train's headlight cut through the dusk like a knife. The whistle screamed. 90 seconds. Maybe less. The sound bounced off the chapel walls. It slid across the evening air. It touched every single wedding guest inside that building, and everybody froze. Champagne glasses stopped midair. The organ music died right in the middle of the processional. 200 of Seoul's richest, most powerful people just sat there like somebody hit pause on a movie. All of this. All of it. Because of one woman standing at that altar in white. Jacinta Kim. The woman who vanished 3 years ago without a word. The woman who took his secrets, his trust, and something else he didn't even know existed until tonight, his daughter. But here's the thing nobody saw coming. Through the chapel's side window, Jacinta could see him. See the train. See the dark shape wrestling against those ropes, refusing to die. And instead of saying "I do" to the stranger beside her, instead of playing her part in this sick game, her hand came up real slow. Not to take the ring. No. Her fingers went straight to the hem of her wedding dress, and she pulled it up and ran. Ran straight toward the man she betrayed. Ran toward the train. Ran toward the one choice that would destroy everything. The officiant stuttered. The groom grabbed for her arm, but she was already gone, bursting through those chapel doors like a woman possessed. Behind her, chaos erupted. Footsteps thundered. Someone screamed. But Hyun-Jun, bleeding, dying, 50 seconds from being crushed, looked up and saw her coming. And when their eyes locked, what she saw looking back at her wasn't rage, wasn't hate, wasn't the cold fury of the Reaper of Gangnam. It was a question. One question that cut deeper than any betrayal. Why did you come back? Over at the chapel entrance, silhouetted against the light, stood a man Hyun-Jun had trusted for 12 years. His cousin. His blood. Minaseo hadn't shown his true face in a decade. Always loyal. Always there. Always 2 steps ahead. But right now, he pulled out his phone. A single red button glowed on the screen. And the smile on his face, his own family had never seen anything like it. Now look, I'm about to take you deep into this story. We're talking family betrayal, a 3-year-old daughter hidden in Jeju, a mother who faked her death for 20 years, and a man who just discovered that everyone he ever trusted was playing a different game. But real quick, if you're new here and you've been watching these stories without subscribing, I see you. And, honestly, I'm not even mad. But if this story hits different, if you feel something in the next few minutes, do me a favor. Just one. Smash that subscribe button and let me know in the comments where you're watching from. Tell me if you'd choose the Empire or the daughter. Tell me if you saw that mother twist coming. Alright, let me show you how we got here. Blood dripped from Hyun-Jun's wrists onto the rusted iron beneath him. The ropes bit deeper with each breath. 300 meters away, maybe less, the train's headlight cut through the dusk like a blade. He'd survived worse. Bullets. Knives. Betrayals that would have broken ordinary men. But this? Tied down like livestock waiting for slaughter? The whistle screamed. His mind shouldn't be on the tracks. It should be calculating escape routes, backup plans, the faces of whoever ordered this hit. Instead, all he could see was her. Jacinta Kim. Standing at that altar in white. The woman who vanished 3 years ago, without explanation. Without goodbye. The only person who'd ever walked away from him and lived. Now she was back, playing bride in someone else's sick game. The chapel sat 200 meters north. He could hear the organ music bleeding through the evening air, mixing with the train's mechanical roar. Could picture her standing there, spine straight, pretending this was normal. Was she pretending? His fingers worked the knots. The rope had give not much, but enough. Whoever tied him up knew their craft, but they didn't know him. Didn't know he'd spent 6 months in a Busan warehouse learning to dislocate his thumbs. The train was closer. 150 meters. Maybe less. At the altar, Jacinta felt the weight of her gown like chains. The man beside her, Dae-sung, they'd called him, smiled with teeth too white, eyes too cold. A puppet dressed in expensive fabric. She'd memorized his face in case she needed to kill him later. "Do you take this man?" The officiant's words turned to static in her ears. Through the chapel's side window, she could see the tracks. See the train. See the dark shape bound there, waiting. Her chest tightened. 3 years. 3 years of running, hiding, rebuilding herself into someone who could survive without him. And now they dragged her back to watch him die. "Miss Kim." The officiant's voice pulled her back. Her throat closed. Dae-sung's grip on her hand became iron. "She does," he answered for her. The guests murmured. Uncomfortable. Sensing something wrong but too polite to name it. Jacinta's eyes found the window again. Found him. Even from here, even tied and bleeding, Hyun-jun moved with purpose. His shoulders shifted. Wrestling something. He was trying to escape. Of course he was. The train's horn blasted. 75 meters out. Then by the power vested in me. Stop. Jacinta's voice cut through the ceremony like broken glass. Every head turned. Dae-sung's smile cracked. "Darling, what are you?" "Cut him loose." She pulled her hand free, turned to face the guests. "Cut him loose right now." Silence. Then chaos. Guests rose from their seats. Someone screamed. Dae-sung grabbed for her, but she was already moving, hiking up her dress, running for the chapel doors. Behind her, footsteps thundered. Shouts erupted. She burst through the doors. Night air hit her face. The tracks stretched before her and there. Hyun-jun's eyes locked onto hers. 50 meters. The train's light flooded everything white. She ran. Heels stabbing earth. Dress tearing. "Jacinta." His voice. Raw. Commanding even now. 30 meters. Her hands found the ropes. Fumbled. Pulled. "Behind you." Hyun-jun's warning came too late. Arms wrapped around her waist, yanked her backward. 20 meters. Through her struggling, she saw him. Saw Hyun-jun wrench one hand free, then the other. Saw him roll off the tracks. The train screamed past. Wind and thunder and metal. When the noise cleared, she was on the ground. Her captor, one of Dae-sung's men, held a knife to her ribs. And standing in the settling dust, brushing gravel from his torn shirt, was Hyun-jun. Blood on his face. Murder in his eyes. "Let her go." His voice was barely human. "Or I'll show you why they call me the Reaper of Gangnam." The man's knife pressed deeper. Jacinta felt the tip pierce skin. "One more step," the man said, "and she bleeds." Hyun-jun smiled. It was worse than any threat. "You think that'll stop me?" Behind them, more footsteps. Voices. The wedding party emerging from the chapel. And at the front, silhouetted against the light, a figure Jacinta recognized. Someone she'd hoped never to see again. Someone whose presence here meant everything was about to get so much worse. The figure stepped into the light. Minasio. Hyun-jun's cousin. The man he'd trusted with his southeastern operations. Surprised? Minasio's voice carried across the tracks. "You always were slow to see betrayal coming from family." Hyun-jun's jaw tightened. Blood still dripped from his wrists, but his stance was predator steady. "Let her go, Minasio. This is between us." "Is it?" Minasio gestured to the man holding Jacinta. The knife pressed harder. She gasped. "Because from where I'm standing, she's very much part of this." Jacinta's eyes found Hyun-jun's. 3 years of silence hung between them. 3 years of questions he'd never stopped asking. "He doesn't know," she said quietly. "Know what?" Hyun-jun took a step forward. The knife bit deeper. Warm blood soaked through white fabric at her ribs. "Another step, and your bride becomes a widow before the ceremony ends." Minasio laughed. Cold. Calculated. Though technically, she was never meant to be a bride at all. "Were you, Jacinta?" Her silence was answer enough. Hyun-jun's mind raced. The wedding. The timing. Jacinta's disappearance 3 years ago, right after the Incheon port deal went sideways. Right after someone leaked his shipping routes to the Yakuza. Someone close. "You worked for him." Not a question. An accusation that tasted like poison. Jacinta's eyes shimmered. "It wasn't supposed to." Save it. His voice could cut steel. How long? Hi in June. How long? 6 months. Her whisper barely carried over the wind. I fed him information for 6 months before I ran. The wedding guests had gone quiet. Watching. Recording on phones. This would be all over Seoul by morning. Minacio clapped slowly. Finally, the truth comes out. Tell him the rest, Jacinta. Tell him why you really disappeared. She shook her head. Tears tracked mascara down her cheeks. No? Then I will. Minacio pulled something from his jacket. A photo. He tossed it at Hyunjun's feet. Look at it. Hyunjun didn't move. Didn't need to. He could see enough from where he stood. A child. Maybe 2 years old. Dark hair. Features that punched the air from his lungs. Congratulations, Minacio said. You're a father. And she's been hiding your daughter in Jeju for 3 years while I tracked her every move. The world tilted. Jacinta struggled against her captor. You said you wouldn't touch her. You promised if I came back, if I played along with this wedding. I promised I'd keep her safe. Minacio's smile was venom. And I have. But whether she stays safe depends entirely on what happens next. Hyunjun's hands curled into fists. Blood loss made his vision swim, but rage kept him focused. Where is she? Somewhere you'll never find her unless you cooperate. Cooperate how? Minacio pulled a gun. Pointed it at Jacinta's head. You're going to sign over every holding, every account, every property. You're going to disappear. And if you ever come looking for either of them, he pressed the barrel to Jacinta's temple. I'll make sure you find pieces. The knife at her ribs. The gun at her head. Minacio had planned this perfectly. Almost. You made one mistake, Hyunjun said. Oh. You assumed I'd negotiate. He moved. Fast. Faster than someone who'd nearly been crushed by a train had any right to move. The gunshot split the night. Jacinta screamed. Bodies collided. Blood sprayed. Someone hit the ground hard. When the chaos cleared, Hyunjun stood over the man who'd held the knife. The blade was now buried in the man's shoulder. Jacinta was free, clutching her bleeding side, scrambling backward. But Minacio still had the gun. And it was pointed at Hyunjun's chest. Always the hero. Minacio's finger tightened on the trigger. That's what got your father killed too. My father. Hyunjun went still. What do you know about my father? Minacio's smile widened. Everything. I was there when he died. In fact, he paused for effect. I'm the one who killed him. The words hung in the air like smoke. Jacinta's gasp was audible even over the ringing in Hyunjun's ears. 10 years you've been hunting his murderer, Minacio continued. 10 years you've torn apart the underworld looking for answers. And he was right beside you the whole time. Hyunjun's world narrowed to the man in front of him. The cousin he'd trusted. The family he'd protected. The monster wearing a familiar face. Why? Because he was weak. Minacio's voice hardened. Just like you. Letting love make you soft. At least I had the decency to eliminate that weakness before it spread. He cocked the gun. Say goodbye, cousin. The shot never came. Instead, a voice cut through the darkness, one Hyunjun hadn't heard in a decade. Hello, brother. Minacio froze. A woman emerged from the chapel shadows. Tall. Elegant. A scar running down her left cheek. Hyunjun's breath stopped. Jia. His sister. Dead for 10 years. Standing 20 feet away like a ghost made flesh. And the gun in her hand was pointed at Minacio. If you haven't subscribed yet, this is your sign. This story is about to go places you're not expecting. Smash that subscribe button and let me know in the comments where you're watching from. Alright, let's keep moving. Time fractured. Hyunjun stared at the woman he'd buried 10 years ago. The woman whose coffin he'd carried. Whose grave he'd visited every year on the anniversary of her death. Jia. Her name tasted like ash in his mouth. Hello, little brother. She stepped closer, gun never wavering from Minacio. The scar on her cheek caught moonlight, a reminder of the explosion that supposedly killed her. Miss me? Minacio's composure cracked. Sweat beaded his forehead. You're supposed to be dead. So are a lot of people tonight. Jia's smile was razor sharp. But here we all are. One big happy family reunion. Jacinta pressed her hand to her bleeding side, watching this nightmare unfold. The guests had scattered, some running, others frozen in horror, phones still recording. You knew. Hyunjun's voice was barely controlled fury. All this time, you were alive and you let me think. That I was dead? Yes. Jia's tone softened fractionally. I had to. After father died, they came for me next. The only way to survive was to disappear completely. They? He took a step toward her. Who's they? Ask your cousin. She gestured with the gun. He's been running the Seoul underground for a decade. Every deal you made, every territory you claimed, he was 3 steps ahead, using you as a shield while he built his real empire. Minesio laughed. Low and dangerous. You think you figured it out? You think showing up here changes anything? It changes everything. Jia's finger tensed on the trigger. Drop the gun, brother. Or I'll finish what father couldn't. Brother. Hyunjun's world tilted again. What is she talking about? Minesio's mask finally shattered. She doesn't know? Oh, this is rich. He looked at Hyunjun with something like pity. Your father didn't have 2 children. He had 3. Jia isn't your sister, cousin. She's mine. The words detonated like grenades. Jia's gun hand shook. Shut up. Tell him, Minesio pressed. Tell him how you've known for 15 years. How you helped me gather intel on father's operations. How you? I said shut up. Her shot went wide, barely missing his head. Chaos erupted. Minesio dove behind the wounded guard. Jacinta scrambled toward the chapel. Wedding guests screamed and scattered like startled birds. Hyunjun moved on instinct. He grabbed Jia's wrist, twisted the gun free. Is it true? Her eyes, so like his father's, held decades of secrets. It's complicated. Uncomplicated. Father had an affair with Minesio's mother before he married yours. We grew up together. Same household, different mothers. I've known Minesio as my half-brother since I was 12. The betrayal cut deeper than any blade. And you never told me. To protect you. She grabbed his collar. Father was going to legitimize Minesio, give him half the organization. But Minesio wanted it all. So he. A gunshot cut her off. Jia staggered backward, red blooming across her shoulder. Minesio stood 10 feet away, the wounded guard's weapon in his hand. Enough nostalgia. Time to finish this properly. Hyunjun caught Jia as she fell. Warm blood soaked his already stained shirt. Stay with me. Behind you, she gasped. He spun. 3 more men emerged from the chapel. Not wedding guests. Armed. Professional. Minesio's real security detail. You see now. Minesio approached slowly, gun trained on Hyunjun's head. I control everything. The wedding. The train. Your daughter's location. Even your dead sister's dramatic entrance, all variables I accounted for. Then you've already lost. Hyunjun laid Jia down gently, stood to face his cousin. Because you forgot one thing. What's that? I'm still breathing. He charged. Minesio fired twice. Both shots missed. Hyunjun moved like smoke, like water, like the reaper he'd been trained to be. His fist connected with Minesio's jaw. Bone cracked. The gun clattered to gravel. They hit the ground fighting. Years of buried hatred erupting in fists and blood and rage. The security detail raised their weapons. Stop. Jacinta's voice rang out. Everyone froze. She stood at the chapel entrance, dress torn and bloodied, holding something that made Minesio's face go white. A detonator. The chapel, she said quietly. It's wired to explode. Has been since this morning. I watched them install it myself. Minesio struggled under Hyunjun's grip. You're bluffing. Am I? Her thumb hovered over the trigger. You thought you controlled everything? You don't even know which side I'm really on. Hyunjun's blood ran cold. Jacinta, don't. 3 years ago, I didn't just disappear. Her voice cracked. I was recruited. Trained. Sent back here for one purpose. She looked at Hyunjun, and in her eyes he saw something that terrified him more than any gun. Resignation. I'm sorry, she whispered. Then pressed the button. Nothing happened. The detonator clicked. Empty. Dead. Jacinta stared at it, confusion flickering across her face for half a heartbeat before understanding crashed down. Minacio laughed. Did you really think I'd let you hold live explosives? The charges are real, Jacinta. But only I have the actual trigger. He pulled a phone from his jacket. A single red button glowed on the screen. Now. Minacio's voice went ice cold. Everyone on their knees, or I turn this chapel into a crater. Hyunjun's mind raced through calculations. Distance to Minacio. Number of armed men. Jia's wound, still bleeding, minutes from critical. No clean exits. He released Minacio, stepped back. Slowly dropped to his knees. The security detail moved in, weapons trained on everyone. One grabbed Jacinta, wrenched her arms behind her back. She didn't resist. Just stared at Hyunjun with eyes that begged forgiveness. You played your part beautifully, Minacio told her, brushing dirt from his suit. The reluctant bride. The desperate mother. Almost made me believe you'd switch sides. I did switch sides. Her voice was raw. The moment I saw him tied to those tracks. Sentiment. Minacio spat the word. That's why you failed. Just like Jia failed. Just like Hyunjun's father failed. He crouched beside Hyunjun. Love makes you weak. Predictable. Where's my daughter? Hyunjun's voice could cut diamonds. Safe. For now. Minacio stood, addressed his men. Take them to the warehouse. All 3 of them. We'll finish this properly, away from cameras. 2 guards hauled Hyunjun to his feet. Another lifted Jia. She groaned, consciousness flickering. Blood loss was winning. She needs a hospital, Hyunjun said. She needs a coffin. Minacio checked his watch. But that can wait 30 minutes. I want you all alive to see what comes next. They were marched toward waiting vehicles. Black SUVs with tinted windows. Professional. Untraceable. Jacinta stumbled beside Hyunjun, guards gripping both her arms. I'm sorry, she whispered. I thought if I came back, if I played along, I could get close enough to. To what? Save me? His laugh was bitter. You've been lying for 3 years. I never lied about loving you. You lied about everything else. Not our daughter. She turned to face him, tears cutting tracks through blood and mascara. Her name is Hannah. She has your eyes. Your stubborn streak. Every day I look at her and see you. Something in his chest cracked. She asks about you, Jacinta continued. I tell her stories. Made up ones, because I couldn't tell her the truth that her father is the most dangerous man in Seoul, and I'm the woman who betrayed him. Enough. A guard shoved her forward. They reached the vehicles. Hyunjun was thrown into the first SUV. Jia in the second. Jacinta in the third. Separated. Isolated. Exactly what Minacio wanted. Through the window, Hyunjun watched the chapel. Watched Minacio give orders, phones still in hand. That red button still glowing. The convoy started moving. 5 minutes down the mountain road, Jia's vehicle suddenly swerved. Tires squealed. It crashed through the guardrail, tumbled down the embankment in a cascade of metal and glass. Hyunjun's driver slammed the brakes. What the? Keep moving. Minacio's voice crackled through the radio. She's already dead. No. Hyunjun lunged for the door. A guard's rifle but caught him in the temple. The world went sideways. When his vision cleared, they were miles away. The burning wreckage was just a glow in the side mirror. Jia. Gone. Again. This time for real. The SUV pulled into an industrial complex. Abandoned warehouses stretched in every direction. No witnesses. No help coming. They dragged him out, threw him to concrete that reeked of old oil and rust. Jacinta was already there, bound to a metal chair. Blood had soaked through her entire dress. Minacio entered last, unhurried. Confident. Now we can talk properly. He pulled out a knife. Tested the edge. About who really killed your father. About why Jacinta was recruited. About the organization that's been pulling strings for 20 years. Organization. Hyunjun's head throbbed, but he forced focus. You thought this was about family rivalry? Territory disputes. Minacio laughed. This is so much bigger. Your father discovered something he shouldn't have. A network that spans governments, corporations, criminal empires across Asia. He pressed the knife to Jacinta's throat. She works for them. So do I. The difference is I embraced it. She tried to run. Jacinta's eyes met Hyun-Jun's. He's lying. I was never. Show him. Min Seo pulled a folder from inside his jacket. Tossed it at Hyun-Jun's feet. Photos spilled out. Jacinta meeting with men in suits. Handing over documents. Standing outside Hyun-Jun's private office, photographing files. Dated 3 months before she disappeared. I was gathering evidence, she said desperately. To bring them down, not to. You were a spy. Min Seo's voice was final. Recruited by the syndicate to infiltrate his organization. You just caught feelings along the way. Made you sloppy. Hyun-Jun stared at the photos. At the woman he'd loved. The woman who'd vanished with his child. Everything he thought he knew was a lie. The syndicate wanted you dead years ago, Min Seo continued. I convinced them to let me handle it personally. Promised I'd dismantle everything your father built and deliver it to them piece by piece. Why tell me this now? Because you need to understand what happens next. Min Seo checked his phone. In 15 minutes, explosives will detonate at 12 locations across Seoul. Your businesses. Your safe houses. Your loyal lieutenants' homes. Hyun-Jun's blood turned to ice. You'll kill hundreds. I'll erase you. Min Seo smiled. Every trace of the Jang family empire. Gone in one night. And Hannah? The question hung in stale air. Min Seo's smile widened. Your daughter is in one of those 12 locations. I won't tell you which one. You have 15 minutes to choose. Try to save your empire or try to save your child. He tossed Hyun-Jun a phone. Single contact. Single call available. One chance, Min Seo said. One location. Choose wisely. The phone's timer started counting down. 14:59, 14:58, 14:57. Jacinta screamed. Please. She's just a baby. Then he'd better decide fast. Min Seo walked toward the warehouse exit. Oh, and Hyun-Jun? Whichever location you choose, I've sent teams to hit the others first. You'll hear them die over the phone. The warehouse door slammed shut. Lock engaged. They were trapped. And somewhere in Seoul, a 3-year-old girl was waiting to die. 14:23. Hyun-Jun stared at the phone. 12 locations. One chance. Jacinta thrashed against her restraints. Think. Where would he hide her? Quiet. His mind cut through panic like a blade through water. Min Seo was meticulous. Strategic. He wouldn't choose randomly. 13:58. The syndicate trained you, Hyun-Jun said. You know how they operate. Where would they stash a high-value target? Somewhere you'd never look. Somewhere personal. Her voice cracked. God, I can't lose her. Personal. His father's old estate. The Gangnam penthouse. His mother's restaurant in Itaewon. Wait. Your apartment, he said. The one in Jeju. The address you used before you disappeared. Jacinta's eyes widened. No. He wouldn't. That's the first place you'd. Exactly why he would. Hyun-Jun's fingers moved across the phone. You said you hid her in Jeju. He's been tracking you for 3 years. He knows that address. 13:12. He pressed dial. It rang once. Twice. A man answered. Took you long enough. Jeju. The coastal apartment. 3rd floor. Silence. Then laughter. Wrong. The line clicked. Explosion sounds crackled through the speaker, distant but unmistakable. Screams. Then static. Jacinta's scream joined them. No, 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 no. He's playing us. Hyun-Jun's jaw clenched. That wasn't real. Audio manipulation. How do you know? Because Min Seo wants me to suffer. Quick deaths don't satisfy him. He studied the phone. The timer kept running. We still have time. 12:45. For what? You used your one call. No. He turned the phone over. I used his call. But he forgot something. With practiced precision, Hyun-Jun's thumb found the edge of the phone case. Popped it off. Inside, a secondary battery pack, standard syndicate modification. But beneath that, something else. A GPS tracker. He wanted to monitor where I'd go if I escaped. Hai and Jun pulled the tiny device free, which means this connects to his network. His fingers flew across the exposed circuitry. Years of survival had taught him things. Hacking wasn't just for computer experts. 12:01. The tracker's light blinked, then synchronized with the phone. A map appeared. 12 red dots scattered across Seoul, and one blue dot, pulsing, labeled package. Jacinta saw it. Myeongdong, the old subway station, the abandoned one under the shopping district. Hai and Jun stood. Minasio's backup safe house. That's 40 minutes from here. Not the way I drive. He grabbed the chair Jacinta was bound to, tipped it. The rusty screws gave way. She crashed to the floor, hands still tied but mobile. Can you run? I'll crawl if I have to. 11:33. They hit the warehouse door together. Locked from outside. Hai and Jun stepped back, calculated angles, kicked. Metal shrieked. Third kick and it bent. Fourth and it burst open. 3 guards waited outside. Weapons drawn. Hai and Jun didn't hesitate. He moved like violence incarnate. First guard's gun was stripped, reversed, fired before the man could blink. Second guard took the weapon stock to the temple. Third managed one shot, missed, before Hai and Jun's elbow shattered his jaw. 10 seconds. 3 bodies. Jacinta stared. I forgot what you're capable of. So did they. He cut her restraints with a guard's knife. Keys. She found them on the lead guard. Hit the remote. An SUV's lights flashed. 10:47. They ran. Behind them, more guards emerged from adjacent warehouses. Shouts. Gunfire. Bullets sparked off concrete. Hai and Jun returned fire while Jacinta started the engine. He dove through the passenger door as she floored it. The SUV fishtailed, then caught traction. They blasted through the industrial complex gate. Metal screamed. Glass shattered. Seoul's lights blazed ahead. 9:55. Faster, Hai and Jun commanded. I'm trying. Jacinta wove through traffic, Tokyo Drift turned corners. The GPS showed their blue dot racing toward the red one labeled package. Behind them, headlights. 3 vehicles. Minasio's men. 9:12. Hai and Jun leaned out the window, fired. One pursuing SUV swerved, clipped a taxi, spun out. 2 left. They're going to call ahead, Jacinta said. Warn whoever's guarding her. Let them. What? Minacio thinks I'm desperate. Reckless. He reloaded. He's right. But desperation makes me more dangerous, not less. 8:33. The GPS blinked. They were close. Myeongdong's neon jungle rose around them. Jacinta killed the lights, took a hard right into an alley. Parked behind a dumpster. The abandoned subway entrance was 50 meters ahead, a grated door covered in rust and forgotten dreams. 8:01. We go in quiet, Hai and Jun said. Fast. No hesitation. If she's not there. She is. How do you know? He met her eyes. Because Minacio wants me to find her. That's the real trap. Jacinta's blood ran cold. What? Think about it. GPS conveniently accessible. Timer running down. He wants us exactly where we are right now. 7:44. Then why are we? Because trap or not, our daughter is in there. Our daughter. The first time he'd said it out loud. They moved toward the entrance. Hai and Jun's hands were steady on his weapon, but his heart hammered against his ribs. 7:15. The grate was unlocked. Open. Definitely a trap. Darkness yawned below. Stairs descended into earth and shadow. 6:58. Hai and Jun went first. Each step deliberate. Measured. His eyes adjusted to the dim emergency lighting that flickered like dying fireflies. The platform opened before them. Empty. Silent. Old advertisements peeling from walls. 6:32. Then a sound. Faint. Distant. A child crying. Jacinta grabbed his arm. Hannah. They ran deeper into the tunnel. The crying grew louder. More desperate. 6:01. Around a corner. A door. Light bleeding from underneath. Hai and Jun kicked it open. The room was clinical. White walls. Medical equipment. And in the center, a crib. Jacinta rushed forward. Hannah. But Hai and Jun saw it first. The wires. The device is attached to the crib's frame. The red digital display counting down. 5:47. Not just a timer. A bomb. And sitting in the crib, crying, dark hair and eyes just like his daughter. Jacinta reached for her. Don't. Hyun-jun caught her wrist. It's pressure sensitive. You lift her, we all die. Then what do we do? He examined the device. Military grade. Sophisticated. 5 minutes to either disarm it or... The screen flickered. Minacio's face appeared. Hello again, he said through speakers. Final test. Your daughter for your empire. Cut the red wire, she lives, but every one of your holdings detonates. Cut the blue wire, your empire survives, she dies. 5:12. Or, Minacio continued, don't cut anything. Watch the timer hit 0. You all die together. At least you'll be a family again. The screen went dark. Jacinta looked at Hyun-jun. Which wire? His hands hovered over the device. Red or blue? Save his daughter or save everything his father died protecting. 4:58. Hannah's cries pierced his soul. I can't, he whispered. You have to choose. 4:44. His fingers trembled. Reached for the red wire. Stopped. Moved to blue. Stopped again. 4:29. Behind them, footsteps echoed in the tunnel. Guards closing in. 4:15. Jacinta grabbed his face. Look at me. What matters more? Everything his father built. Hundreds of employees. Families depending on his protection. Or one small girl who had his eyes. For a clock. I choose. A gunshot cracked through the room. Hyun-jun looked down. Blood bloomed across his chest. He turned. In the doorway stood a figure he recognized. Someone from inside his own organization. Someone he'd trusted for years. The real traitor. Wrong choice, they said, raising the gun again. 3:52. Pain exploded through Hyun-jun's chest. He staggered but didn't fall. The shooter stepped into the light. Yoon. His head of security for 8 years. The man who'd taken bullets for him in Busan. Who'd sworn blood oaths of loyalty. You. Hyun-jun's voice was razors. Me. Yoon's gun stayed level. Surprised? You shouldn't be. The syndicate has owned me since before your father died. Jacinta moved toward Hannah. Yoon's gun swung to her. Touch that crib, and I'll put the next one through your spine. She froze. 3:38. Blood soaked through Hyun-jun's shirt. The bullet had hit high, right shoulder. Hurt like hell but not fatal. Not yet. Minacio's insurance policy, Yoon continued. In case you actually made it this far. Which you did. Impressive. How long? Hyun-jun pressed his hand to the wound. How long have you been feeding them information? Does it matter? You're dead either way. Yoon glanced at the timer. 3.5 minutes until that bomb erases all evidence. Including your daughter. Hannah's cries had quieted to whimpers. She stared at the adults with wide, terrified eyes. Those eyes. Exactly like his. 3:15. Let them go, Hyun-jun said. You want me dead? Fine. But they're innocent. Innocent? Yoon laughed. Jacinta's been a double agent for years. And that child? She's leverage. The syndicate's insurance that, even if you somehow survive tonight, we'd still own you. Then take me. Leave them. Not how this works. 2:58. Hyun-jun's mind raced through scenarios. Yoon was 10 feet away. Professional stance. Trained reflexes. The shoulder wound had weakened his right side. Any move would have to be fast. Perfect. Probably fatal. Why'd you save me in Busan? He asked, buying time. Orders. The syndicate wasn't ready to eliminate you yet. Needed you to consolidate the southern territories first. Yoon checked his watch. But now you've served your purpose. 2:41. Behind Yoon, shadows shifted in the tunnel. Reinforcements. More guards. They were surrounded. Jacinta saw it too. Her eyes met Hyun-jun's. Silent communication built over years. Even through betrayal, they still spoke the same language. She mouthed, together? He nodded fractionally. 2:29. One question, Hyun-jun said. Minacio said cut the red or blue wire. Which one actually saves her? Yoon smiled. Neither. Both wires trigger the detonation. There is no right choice. That's the point. Jacinta's face went white. Then how? You don't. Yoon's finger tightened on the trigger. You die knowing you failed her. 2:15. Wrong. The voice came from behind Yoon. Everyone turned. Jia stood in the tunnel entrance. Alive. Burned. Bleeding from a dozen wounds. But alive. Her gun was already firing. Yoon dove. The shot caught his shoulder. He returned fire. Jia ducked behind a support column. Chaos erupted. Guards poured in from both sides. Gunfire echoed off concrete walls. Muzzle flashes lit the darkness like lightning. 2 o'clock. Hyun-jun lunged for Yoon. His wounded shoulder screamed, but rage pushed through pain. They collided. Hyun-jun's left hand found Yoon's throat. Squeezed. The bomb, he growled. How do I stop it? Yoon's face purpled. Can't. Wrong answer. Hyun-jun slammed his head into the wall. Once. Twice. Tell me. 147. Behind the crib panel. Hyun-jun dropped him. Turned to Jacinta. Move the crib. You said it was pressure sensitive. I lied. Move it. She grabbed the crib, yanked it aside. Hannah screamed. The bomb didn't explode. Behind where the crib had sat, a panel in the wall. Hyun-jun ripped it open. Wires. Circuits. A manual override switch. 128. But it was locked. Needed a code. Yoon. He spun back. The code. Yoon was gone. Disappeared into the firefight. Jia stumbled to them, blood trailing. Get out. I'll hold them. You can barely stand. I've been dead for 10 years. What's another day? She pressed a bloodied hand to his face. Go. Save your daughter. That's what father would have wanted. 103. Behind her, guards advanced. 10. Maybe 15. Too many. Jia. Go. She opened fire. Bodies fell. But more kept coming. Hyun-jun grabbed Hannah from the crib. The child clung to him, crying. He'd never held her before. Never felt her small heartbeat against his chest. This way. Jacinta pulled them toward a service tunnel. 049. They ran. Jia's gunfire faded behind them. Then stopped. Then screaming. Hyun-jun didn't look back. The service tunnel opened to a maintenance shaft. Ladder leading up. Jacinta climbed first. Hyun-jun passed Hannah up, then followed. Blood made the rungs slippery. 031. They emerged in a parking garage. Late night. Empty cars. City sounds above. Hyun-jun's phone buzzed. Text from unknown number. You took the child. Now watch your empire burn. 022. His other phone, the one with the GPS, showed all 12 red dots blinking rapidly. Simultaneously. Minacio hadn't waited for the choice. He triggered everything. 015. No. Hyun-jun stared at the dots. His businesses. His people. Hundreds of lives. We have to run, Jacinta urged. There's nowhere to run from this. 008. Hannah grabbed his face. Tiny hands. Appa? The words stopped his heart. Daddy. She'd called him Daddy. 003. The phone showed an incoming call. Minacio. Hyun-jun answered. Beautiful, isn't it? Minacio's voice was silk over steel. You saved your daughter but lost everything else. How does it feel? This isn't over. Oh, but it is. You're finished. Broken. I own Seoul now. Midnight. Below them, the subway station erupted. Flames shot through ventilation shafts. The ground shook. Across the city, 11 more explosions lit the night sky. Hyun-jun watched his empire die in fire and smoke. But Hannah was warm in his arms. Alive. You're wrong, he said quietly. This isn't over. It's just beginning. Brave words from a dead man. I'm not dead yet. You will be. Minacio's tone shifted. Because I lied about one thing. Hyun-jun's blood turned to ice. What? Your sister. Jia. She didn't work for me. Then who? She worked for someone else. Someone who's been watching this whole time. Someone who wanted both of us destroyed. Minacio's voice cracked. Someone who just put a bullet in my head. Gunshot over the phone. Static. Then a new voice. Female. Familiar but wrong. Hello, Hyun-jun. He knew that voice. Impossible. Who is this? You buried me 20 years ago. But I never died. And now, the woman laughed. Now you'll wish you had killed me when you had the chance. The line went dead. Hyun-jun stared at the phone. 20 years ago. The woman from his father's past. The one he'd testified against. The one who'd sworn revenge. His mother. She was alive. And she'd orchestrated everything. The parking garage air tasted like ash and gasoline. Hyun-jun's world had collapsed into a single point, the phone in his hand and the voice that couldn't exist. Surprised? His mother's laugh echoed through the speaker. You should see your face right now. Jacinta grabbed his arm. Your mother's been dead for 20 years. I know. His voice was hollow. I watched them lower her coffin. Empty coffin, the voice corrected. Filled with rocks and regret. Your father thought he could control me. Thought testifying against me would break the woman he'd married. Instead, it freed her. Hannah whimpered against his chest. He held her tighter. Where are you? Hyun-jun scanned the garage. Shadows everywhere. 100 places to hide. Close. I've always been close. Watching you build what your father started. Watching you make the same mistakes. Her voice went cold. Letting love make you weak. You killed Melanin. I killed everyone who served their purpose. Melanin. Yoon. Even Jia, eventually. The syndicate thought they were using me. They were wrong. Jacinta pulled her weapon. Scanned the darkness. She's playing with us. We need to move. Run where? The voice came from behind them now. Not from the phone. They spun. A woman emerged from behind a concrete pillar. Late 50s. Elegant. A face Hyun-jun recognized from childhood photos, but sharper now. Harder. She wore black tactical gear. Gun lowered but ready. Behind her, a dozen armed soldiers. Not syndicate. Not Minasio's men. Something else entirely. Hello, son. The word felt like a blade. Hyun-jun shifted Hannah behind him. 20 years. You could have contacted me anytime. And say what? That I faked my death to build an empire larger than your father ever dreamed? That every move you made, I allowed. She smiled. You were never free, Hyun-jun. You were a puppet who thought he'd cut his strings. The syndicate. Works for me. Always has. She stepped closer. I created it. Used it to control the Pacific Rim's underworld. Your father discovered the truth. Tried to expose me. So I had him killed. Jacinta gasped. Minacio said he. Minacio believed what I wanted him to believe. He was a useful idiot. As was your father. She focused on Hyun-jun. But you? You have potential. Raw. Unfocused. But potential. For what? To stand beside me. Rule what I've built. She gestured to the burning city. Seoul is just the beginning. I control networks in 12 countries. Governments in my pocket. Corporations that move at my word. Join me and this, she indicated the explosions. Stops. And if I refuse? Her gun rose. Pointed at Jacinta. Then I kill her. Then your daughter. Then I spend the next 20 years erasing every trace you ever existed. Hannah started crying again. The sound tore through Hyun-jun's chest. You'd kill your own granddaughter? I'd kill anyone who threatens my vision. Her finger rested on the trigger. Your father learned that. Minacio learned that. Now you'll learn it too. Lower the gun, mother. Choose. Them or power. Love or legacy. The same choice. Different words. Always the same choice. Hyun-jun met Jacinta's eyes. Saw fear. Defiance. Love that had survived years of lies and betrayal. I choose. Gunfire erupted from above. His mother's soldiers dropped. 1, 2, 5. Precision shots from the garage's upper levels. Down. Hyun-jun tackled Jacinta and Hannah behind a car. Bullets sparked off concrete and steel. His mother dove for cover. Who? A figure repelled from the ceiling. Combat gear. Military precision. Landed between them and his mother's position. Turned. Jia. Again. But different. No blood. No wounds. Tactical vest over a fresh uniform. You really thought a simple car crash would kill me? She reloaded smoothly. After everything our family taught me about survival? Hyun-jun's mind reeled. You were shot. You were acting. Jia's voice was ice. Everything you saw was theater. The blood. The pain. The sacrifice. She looked at his mother. Wasn't it, director? Director. The word landed like a hammer. No, Hyun-jun whispered. Jia, tell me you didn't. I've been working for her since I was 16. Jia's gun never wavered. The explosion that killed me? Mother's idea. Gave me a clean slate to operate in shadows. Every piece of information you trusted me with, I fed directly to her. His mother smiled. Proud. My daughter knows loyalty. Your daughter. Hyun-jun felt something break inside his chest. She's your real child. Not Minnesio. Not me. Oh, you're all mine. Different fathers, same ambition. His mother stood. But Jia understood what you never could. Power requires sacrifice. Love is weakness. Family is just another tool. Jacinta pulled Hannah closer. You're insane. I'm inevitable. His mother nodded to Jia. Kill them. Make it clean. Jia raised her weapon. Aimed at Hyun-jun's head. Wait. Hyun-jun held up his free hand. If you're going to kill me, at least tell me the truth. Was anything real? The childhood memories? The promises to protect each other? Jia's expression flickered. Something behind her eyes. Was I ever really your brother? Her gun hand trembled. Fractionally. But visible. Jia. Their mother's voice cut like wire. Do it. Now. Jia's finger moved to the trigger. Time slowed. Hyun-jun saw it. The moment of hesitation. The crack in her mask. He made his choice. I forgive you. 3 words. Simple. Devastating. Jia froze. Whatever you've done. Whatever you do next. Hyun-jun's voice was steady despite the gun pointed at his face. You're still my sister. And I forgive you. Tears tracked down Jia's cheeks. She turned. Shot their mother. Chaos exploded. The remaining soldiers opened fire. Jia returned shots, dropped 3. Hyun-jun pulled Jacinta and Hannah toward an exit ramp. Bullets chased them. Behind them, his mother screamed. Not pain. Rage. The shot had only caught her leg. Traitor, she shrieked at Jia. I gave you everything. You gave me nothing. Jia's voice broke. You made me a monster. She was tackled by 2 soldiers. Went down fighting. Hyun-jun reached the ramp. Looked back once. Jia pinned. His mother, wounded but standing. Pulling another gun. Aiming at Jia's head. Run. Jia screamed. Just run. The gunshot echoed through concrete. Jia went limp. Hyun-jun turned away. Ran. Hannah's cries drowned out everything else. They burst into the street. Night air. Traffic. Witnesses. A car screeched to a stop in front of them. The driver's window lowered. Yoon sat behind the wheel. Alive. Bleeding. Smiling. Get in. Quickly. You're dead, Jacinta breathed. Not yet. And neither are you. He gestured frantically. But your mother's soldiers are coming. Get in or die. Hyun-jun's hand moved toward his weapon. No time for pride, Yoon snapped. Your mother just activated Protocol 7. In 2 minutes, this entire district becomes a kill zone. Military-grade gas. Everyone dies. As if summoning his words, hissing sounds erupted from street vents. Yellow smoke began rising. People screamed. Scattered. Hyun-jun looked at Jacinta. At Hannah. At the spreading gas. At Yoon. Why help us now? Because I just learned I'm disposable too. Yoon's face was grim. Your mother doesn't leave loose ends. I'm a loose end. So are you. Difference is, I know where she keeps her kill switch. The gas crept closer. Hyun-jun made his choice. They got in the car. Now look, if this story did something for you, if you felt Hyun-jun's impossible choices, if you're sitting there wondering what happens next with that mother still breathing, this is the moment. I put real time into these stories. Real heart. And all I'm asking is that if you're watching this and you haven't subscribed, just tap that button. It takes 1 second, but it means the world. Smash that subscribe button and let me know in the comments where you're watching from. Tell me if you'd have chosen the Empire or the daughter. Tell me if you saw the mother's twist coming. Tell me whatever's on your heart. I'll see you in the next story.